very good morning to you. Happy Sunday. Now we're going to look at a passage now in Hebrews 8, 1 to 7, which contains a lot of very important thoughts. And I don't want to rush them. I want to try and just focus on one thought at a time. So it would be a good idea to read this little 7-verse passage each day that we have the thought together. Because now the writer of the Hebrews is making a very strong case for why the new covenant is different to the old covenant and why it is better than the old covenant. Great and wonderful as the old covenant was, the new covenant is superior in every single way. And that is something to really grasp. You know, there are many people who like the order that comes from having a rule of life. They like to know what they should do, like somebody else to decide what they should do all the time. And then they will know if they've kept it or not. And there are many organisations that have grown up over the years which put in place a substitute for the Old Testament, a rule of life, a way of thinking, an organisation. We like organisation. We at Monk's Yard, the church I fellowship at, we have values, a set of values. They're not quite an order of life because they're not so specific. They're much more general. They give a general pattern for life, which is what the New Testament tries to do, give us principles by which we live, because we're meant to live under the direction of the Holy Spirit rather than living under the rules of the law, keeping the exact rules of the law. We're meant to live with motivation coming from inside rather than instruction coming from outside. And this is how we should be. But he makes this first point that if Jesus was alive now, he says here, if he were on earth, he would not be a priest at all, since there are priests who offer gifts according to the law. Now, so what he's saying is, if Jesus was living as he was writing the letter, he would not qualify as a priest because he's not a descendant of Levi. He's not from the Aaronic line. And nobody could be a priest who was not from the Aaronic line. And indeed, there are occasions in the Old Testament when people did priestly things when they shouldn't do them, and they were severely judged for that. Saul is one case in point, when he made an offering because Samuel was late coming to make that offering. And he lost his kingship. God left him as a result of that disobedience. Now, Jesus did not disobey the law, ever. He kept the law. And while he was alive on earth, he was not a priest. But when he reached heaven, he took up this new priesthood after the order of Melchizedek, in the very presence of God himself. And so his priesthood is far greater than the priesthood of an earthly priest. And he will go on to talk about what Jesus offered when he acted as high priest in heaven. He is seated at the right hand of the Majesty in heaven, a ministry in the sanctuary and the true tent that is set up not by man, but by the Lord. Now, this is what the Hebrews writer tells us quite clearly in the whole of this letter, that everything, all the things that were given to Moses, the instructions for how to make the tent, how to set up things, how to make the altars and everything else, how to make the offerings and even the oils and the spices that were used in the offerings, they are all a shadow of the real thing that is in heaven. They are a shadow, just like this world is a faint shadow of the reality that is eternity with God. Now that's a thought. Think about a shadow, and if it's not really sunny today, but when it's sunny, and you stand, maybe stand in a room with a light shining on you, and look at your shadow, and think about what a shadow is in comparison to the thing it shadows. The shadow falls because we obscure the light, and it shows our shape, but it doesn't show our colouring. It doesn't show the colouring of our clothing. It is black. It tells us something about the thing it is a shadow to, but it doesn't tell us the reality of it. And the reality of it is far more wonderful than the shadow can ever be. And this is what the writer of the Hebrews is trying to say to us, that everything that was done under the old covenant was a shadow of the reality that Jesus has brought to us, and of the reality that is in heaven. In heaven there is a dwelling place, a tabernacle, a tent. I don't know if it'll be a real tent. I don't know if it'll be made of canvas or anything. But what is on earth is a shadow of what is in heaven. And I look around at this earth and what is here, and to me it is amazingly beautiful. The colours and everything that is here is so wonderful and wonderfully made. If this is a shadow of what the reality is, then the reality when we see it is going to be completely mind-blowing. It's going to be absolutely out of this world. Well, it is out of this world, isn't it? It's going to be out of this world. And this is what the writer is trying to say to us, that what we have, what we experience in our lives is nothing, almost nothing, compared to what Jesus holds for us for the future. The realities that we will go to are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Perhaps that's a thought for the day. Perhaps try and find a picture. Maybe if you can't find anywhere where there's a shadow, or you can't make a shadow. I mean, I've got shadow here, but it's on a black background. But try and create for yourself a shadow, and just see how bland the shadow is compared to the object that it shadows. And think about this truth contained in these verses here, Hebrews 8, 1-7. And we'll meet again tomorrow, and I hope you have a good day and have the opportunity to worship God today for his just overwhelming greatness and love extended towards us. God bless you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.